then we'll get started. And live and
I think we're back.
yeah, I'm muted for some. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic podcast. And for today, the Don Rogers Show, we're streaming live on Don's channel. And Don made a good point. He's like, they took me off of YouTube, but I'm still kind of on YouTube because I'm going through Don's channel, so that's good. And we're on live on my Rumble, and we're gonna share some interesting stories today. Some really bad stuff happened to Don and Spinja, but they're pulling through. They're staying strong. I think it's weird because like a lot of bad stuff's happening to a lot of us, but then the universe, like Spinja just said, like the universe is balancing things out. Like for example, like I did I'd taken down off YouTube, then I won my channel back, then I got suspended. Well, then Journey to Truth invited me on their show, and I was on their show last night. So it's like, and the community kind of rallied behind me. So I can't be mad about what happened to me, but they had something even worse happen to them, and they're going to explain to them what happened today. They were in a car accident and all kinds of stuff. So Dawn, Spinja, I really consider you guys really good friends. Thanks so much for coming on. How are you guys?
We're grateful to be here, and I think the takeaway from all of this, guys, is look for the small victories because they're there. Hang on to them and let those turn into perpetual motion, because right now we're all in a place like the community is being attacked. Like, please don't think that we think we're the only ones this is happening to. We know it's happening to other people, and it should not be. So please take away from our experiences. There is light at the end of the tunnel. You need to stay strong, try not to react, stay out of your emotions, and just focus, stick to the facts, and just step through, and you will see that there's balance. Like, I'm really excited. Like, as shitty as this week was, like, I have like that's like the understatement of the year. I'm excited to share how things are falling into place.
Yeah,
what
and
happened? Sorry, go ahead, Dawn.
Like you were alluding to too, it's almost like things are being set up though too, because like you and I had this interview set up, and I was going to come and talk about this gnosis thing I had about the biomolecular construct of the universe, but that kind of seems indifferent right now because something so much more fascinating has happened to us this week. Like it was already set up and in place for us to have this meeting, but then something so much more prevalent came to the forefront.
Yeah, that's it's important. Yeah, I agree. It's important. Yeah. So where would you guys like to start?
I guess with Monday.
Yeah, I guess we'll start with last Monday. So I started. So Don went back to his job. I don't know if there's been people that have been following along with his story. He basically took a leave of absence, and now he's back to working his poop truck job. So we have lots of fun with that. And so because we just have one vehicle, and his schedule can be wonky, we decided to approach my boss to see about working nights. So then that way I work nights and do my thing, and then I come home, he takes the truck and does his thing, and everybody's happy. And it was working out nicely. And so Monday morning, 6 a.m., I was on my way home, and there was a snowstorm happening, which happens in Alberta. We'd already had our first snowfall, so it wasn't quite as bad, and traffic generally isn't too bad at that time of day anyway. But anyway, I was driving along, and we had a Ram truck with 4-wheel drive, and a lot of people assume that if you have that kind of truck, we also had really good winter tires, that you're invincible and you can go as fast as you want. You don't need to slow down for the weather conditions, which is absolute bullshit. All it does is increase your chances of getting there safer and adds a little bit more traction. You are not invincible. And so I saw this vehicle coming up behind me, and it was approaching pretty quickly. And I was feeling uncomfortable because I knew that the vehicle was going to go around me, and it was going to put our safety, both of our safety, at risk. And so there was a voice, it sounded like my mom's, told me, slow down, find the next side road and turn so you can let this guy pass safely. Okay, I'm going to do that. And so I started slowing down. I gave the guy lots of notice. I had my blinker on. I was turning right. And as I was turning, there was a car, well, it was an SUV, slid through the other side. So slid through the stop sign, 2 lanes of traffic into the back of my truck.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Down, it would have been a head-on, and the guy behind me probably would have crashed.
Oh my God. So it was a miracle that you were safe, I guess, all right?
It was I can laugh about it now because that's this is the thing. This is how Don and I are getting through. We're laughing at all of it because that's the only way we can cope. Because if we sit there and we actually analyze shit, the other thing is, some people might think that this is that we are TIs and these are attacks. Maybe it is.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, do you think it's targeted to some extent?
There's a lot of coincidences. I'm not going to come right out and say it, but I'm not going to say it is, but I'm not going to say it's not either. But there's some cool shit that's happening that's countering it.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting in, like, right after it happened. It wasn't even like, my first thought was, are you fucking kidding me? That's what went through my head. And I got out, and so the conclusion of this part of the story, I got checked over by EMS. I went home and had a nap. I was feeling a little stiff and sore. I went to the hospital to get assessed. Everything's fine. I got x-rays done. There's nothing broken. The only thing that came up, I went to a physiotherapy appointment on Thursday, and they said that I have class 2 whiplash. But other than that,
oh my God,
I could not be more blessed. Like, I think I've had to take ibuprofen twice.
wow. Thank God you're safe, you know? I mean, because it could have been so much worse, you know? I mean, like, but what about the truck, though? That's a problem, right? I mean, like, or is it a problem?
I just want to, like, she kind of glossed over it, but if that voice in her head hadn't have said slow down, she'd have been the half second ahead where that driver that folded the back of the truck in half would have folded her in half. That whole half second slowed down, she'd have been dead. Right? Like, it missed
your
by that.
Intuition's really working for you.
Right?
Yeah. It's amazing.
The truck is right off.
Wow.
But we'll actually get to that in the end of this.
But wait, there's more.
So I came home from work, like from my poop truck job, as I usually do, and this was on Wednesday, and we're like full swing. I had seen pictures of the truck. I actually stopped and drove by and knew it was a write-off, right? I was like, yeah, that's done. And this whole stress situation is building up, and it gets on to like Wednesday night at work, and I had been feeling a bit off even before the phone call came in, but I was like, wow, I kind of feel weird. She was saying she wanted something to eat. I got up to make something to eat, and I was just not feeling right. Like, something was pressing in my stomach and on my chest. I'm like stressed out about the truck and getting back to work and driving in the city and all of these other things. And it felt like I was having a panic attack. except it was pushing on my chest.
Well, you left the part out where we were getting the phone call from my lawyer.
We hadn't got there yet.
Oh,
but yeah, like before when you were asking for supper, it was then, and then the phone call comes in from her lawyer, which is the beginning stages of the settlement of a very expensive estate that she's been wronged out of. So all of a sudden, I start feeling this thumping in my chest, and my face is going numb, and my hand is going numb, and my sight is going kind of weird. And I'm like, God. Oh shit, no. Right? And she's just getting into the juicy bits with her lawyer about this estate settlement. And I'm like, I hate to do this, but I'm having a heart attack. And she's like, what? And she's like, I gotta go, gets off the phone with the lawyer, and it doesn't start getting any better. Like, I can literally feel my physical heart pounding through my chest, on my skin, under my fingers. And it's just like, whomp, whomp, whomp. I'm going into like cardiac arrest. I'm like, this is no.
Oh my God.
The ambulance gets here, and of course they start treating for a heart attack because it's everything it appears. And so they give me 2 shots of nitro, some aspirin, and 2.5 milligrams of morphine. Well, the problem is all of that had a reaction with whatever else was going on in my body. And my blood pressure dropped to 40/80. It should be 120/80. I dropped to 1/3 of a normal human blood pressure. And I remember sitting there thinking like, oh my God, I'm losing my grip on my human. Like, I've explained on your show before that I believe I'm a pilot driving a human body in a wonderful experience. Well, my pilot was starting to separate. And I'm sitting there going, no. And then all of a sudden, Rob, it was the craziest thing. Something in my head went, no, just for a minute. And I was like, okay. And I leaned back and I woke back up, and I wasn't in a body anymore. And I was standing not in front of, but around, like basically part of an orange and yellow glow that I wasn't going towards. I was about to start remerging with it. And it was the most lyrical sound you could possibly hear in your head, the most euphoric feeling you could have in your body, and the most loved and cherished emotion you can possibly fathom, all at the same time. I literally started to see and feel this. And then I hear, in this very peaceful, serene setting that I'm in, don't you fucking dare. And this is where Spinja comes back into the story. Like, I literally heard this in my head. And
so
wait, you had a near-death experience, basically. You had like an out-of-body experience, near-death experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
I had a cardiac. My blood pressure went down to 1/3 the normal rate of a human. They don't know how I maintained the consciousness I did, but I did go for a second.
Oh my God, Don, that's horrible. I mean, but it's but at the same time, what you experienced was like, it's hard to, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't even have words for it, wow. I'll just let you guys go. I'm sorry. I was just like, it was shocking,
Yeah. No, it's seriously a lot to unpack, because we're still unpacking it. Like, there is so much to this, and even like right down to the timing of things, it's mind-blowing. And so we're back. So Don is laying on the bed, and he's hooked up to the machines. The paramedics are here, and I see him. His eyes, he was only halfway there, and he would close them, and it looked like he was fighting. And so I was there, and I was holding his hand, and I'm back to the whole like first thoughts of when the truck got crashed. Are you fucking kidding me? We were just talking to the lawyer who was about to tell us about how he's going to release the gift that my mom left for me and my family to help us acquire a home. Like, no,
Wow.
you don't get to leave. You don't get to leave now. And as I was bitching him out, I wasn't expecting to hear him. I got this vision of him, and I could feel him. I could see him through a fog. I could see a light, like a dim, like goldish orange light in like ahead of me, and he was just kind of wandering towards it. And that's the part, like, and I could feel him. I could feel the relief from him, and I'm like, don't you fucking dare. Like, I actually said that in my head. I wanted to say it out loud but the paramedics were here, and I was trying to behave myself. And as soon as I screamed that at him, his eyes started fluttering, and there he was. And and this is the part, and he's lucky we still have witnesses. He had a fucking smirk on his face. Like, he came back and he had a smirk on his face, and I could hear him, and he's like, "Hey, I did it again." And I just seriously, I mean, I was so relieved that my husband came back, but I wanted to slap him.
Wow.
I don't know.
What were you feeling at that moment, Dawn? Like, what were you feeling at that moment that you came back?
It was weird because, like, I can go even to the second before I came back, because, like I said, I was literally just rejoining this state of euphoria. Like, no, my relatives weren't there. None of that. I was just rejoining what I think is source energy, and I was welcomed home, and I got this euphoric feeling. I don't have another word. And it was just like, hearing her voice in my head was like, oh shit, right, I was doing stuff. And like, that's when I remember blinking and I saw her, and I knew that she knew what just happened, and that's why I smirked and kind of started laughing. It was like, yeah, I did it again. I don't know if we've ever talked about it on your show, but that's about my 13th NDE.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've taken her on about
13.
Yeah, I've
13
drowned.
NDEs.
Yeah, I could go through them all, but this was the most gentle one I took her on, because I've almost gotten her killed twice. But this time she just kind of came in as a spectator. Like, everything that she described is exactly what I saw. She knew just as much detail as I did. Like, she was able to view it in her mind's eye as I was going.
Wow. That's amazing.
Like, it was phenomenal. So, do you want to tell the rest how this lines up?
Well, the timing of this, like, it's always an honor to be on your show, Rob, because like, you, like, really, you're the one that kicked this all off. Like, I was trying to get his attention. You're the one that ultimately got his attention. So you really did get this party started. And
I like that. I mean, but but maybe you guys were meant to do it. It's just like, maybe you just needed like a spark. Like Howdy Mikowski said yesterday. Like, everybody has like a divine spark. Like, maybe you just needed like a spark to like start, and now you're started. I don't know. Like. Yeah. But yeah, I don't mean me. I don't mean I was a divine spark. I mean, it's something ignited the divine spark in you to like do what you're doing. That's kind of.
Oh no, if you didn't ignite the spark, you carried the flint, because you helped bring this online.
Well, yeah, and I was kind of laughing. Like, do you realize we've only known each other just a little over a year now? It feels like I've known you for a decade.
I know, right? And like I even got to do you guys' wedding, and I was really hopefully they don't take that. Hopefully they don't take my YouTube and like because I'd love for that to stay up. I mean I know it's on you guys' channel too, but I don't know, like
Yeah.
it's there's a lot of memories on that channel, so it's like
Yeah. Oh,
I mean
absolutely. But no,
yeah.
what I was going to say is that I'm extra appreciative to be here today because it actually um marks 11 years since my mom passed. And this whole thing, I was holding her hand at the time, and I'm okay talking about it. So this is sharing my experience. Please, I'm not looking for loosh or anything. Like, this has actually brought me peace. So I was actually holding her hand at the time that she crossed over, and I knew it happened because everything went black, and it was the blackest I'd ever seen anything. And then I got I got the best I can describe is that I got hit, like it was like somebody put an oxygen mask over my face, and then I was slammed back into my body. And just the timing, like I really feel that my toes touched the door of the next place that we move on to. And with what happened with Dawn on Wednesday, I think I actually got to see it this time.
Oh, you're muted, Rob.
Sorry. Yeah, because I was typing here and there. I didn't want to type while you guys were talking. I was saying. So with what you guys have both seen, like me, I'm a little bit skeptical about stuff, but like not. I'm just talking about I'm skeptical about the afterlife because basically because when my dad died when I was 20, yeah, you guys have heard me talk about this. When my dad died, I was 21. I felt like he didn't come back or anything. So like like I was wondering why other people can have experiences and I didn't, but like. I live vicariously through other people's experiences. Like when you guys have these amazing experiences, like it gives me hope that there's an afterlife. So what I'm saying is like when you saw this stuff, and Dawn, you've had many near death experiences. Like, do you guys definitely feel like there's definitely an afterlife from what you've seen? And like, I know that might be a stupid question, but like it's
So what I'm finding, um, for me anyway, like I've always looked for signs. My mom's like one of the last things that my mom ever said to me, and I think the first time I ever stood up to her, it was the morning that she died. She said, "You read too much into things." And I was so exhausted. I was so frazzled because it's pretty stressful seeing your mom in that condition. I looked at her square in the face and I said, "There's going to come a day when you're glad that I do." And that was my way of saying when it's time. And you know what? Like, and that's the part, this is crazy. Like I wasn't awake at the time, but I knew to ask my mom. She was still coherent, and and like the doctor had that talk, like they weren't expecting her to last that long, so I'm like, I'm just gonna lay it out there. I said to her, Mom, if like I know we don't know about where you're going next, but if there's any way that you can give me a sign, what should I look for? And initially she said robins. And then she said, no, just birds in general. And I am so glad that I had that conversation with her. And Rob, I absolutely understand your skepticism because I hear myself talk and I can't believe it. I'm trying to look for explanations. I'm trying to look for the logic here. So that's the part, like if even if or if you wanted to do a panel or somebody that can explain the logic behind all of this, I'm open to it. I'm not saying that there is something on the other side. I'm just saying, like, I'm sharing with, like, what I've seen and what I've experienced. I'm not pushing anything. I am looking for the logical explanations for this.
Yeah. No, I wasn't challenging it at all. I was just saying, like,
No,
I like it. I like hearing it because it gives me a sense of hope. Like, because I definitely want to believe there's an afterlife. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm just, like, it's just like nobody ever gives us the answers, right? Like, it's like we don't find out until we die, and it's like, why can't we know before that? You know what I mean? I'd love to know for sure, but it seems like with all this stuff we hear about reincarnations and past lives and like near-death experiences and out-of-body experiences and like, and I think that's why I was trying to have an out-of-body experience for so long, because I felt like if I was able to have an out-of-body experience, that would prove to me that there was an afterlife. But I feel like, like with the hauntings even that happened in my studio here, like I felt like that was kind of proof, because like, how is there another energy that can exist on this plane that can come into your space and touch you and do things to you and you can't explain what it is. Now, I didn't see any ghosts, but it was definitely like another energy. And then also, like there's healers too. Like, like people have healed me recently where they're able to like heal me with their mind. So I definitely feel like, it's all possible, and it's yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry. Yeah.
One thing I want to say about the whole thing is, like, I've learned this week is that if you project energy and intention into the universe from a place of purity, it can be heard universally. And this goes into your question about life after death, because I was outside of my body and she came from such a place of pure intention. I heard her while transitioning into a different realm, right?
Wow.
So if there's a question in your mind and you consider my opinion as a friend, whether or not energies can hear you from beyond this when you send your energetic intention and questions and love back to them, yeah, they can. If you're coming from that place of purity, it gets through loud and clear. Like, she sounded like the Walmart lady on a loudspeaker, because I was just in this wonderful area and then it was like, price check at Kmart. Like, just, you can be heard on the other side. Trust me.
There's no man cave hiding for him.
Yeah. Like,
it's hilarious.
It really is that real. And like, with everything that I've studied and like the amount of stages of consciousness that I've had, and like through meditation and medicinal and all of those things, I absolutely believe there's much more beyond this stage of consciousness. So call that life after death or whatever you want. There's definitely a whole lot more that we're going to experience. This is just one incarnation of your spiritual existence.
Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Dawn, you also wanted to share some SSP stuff that you did. Is there more that you wanted to say about the Astral and near death? Wherever you guys want to go, it's totally, you got the floor.
Yeah, the happy ending on the truck.
Well, there's a few happy endings.
Yeah, go.
So on Thursday, when I went for my physio appointment and we were still waiting to find out what was going on with Dawn, I stopped into my workplace, and they had alluded about wanting me to come work days for the next couple of weeks, because we're going to get slammed with orders for Black Friday, and the lady that does the shipping, she's getting a little overwhelmed, and I'm one of the ones that I wear multiple hats there, so they're going to pull me off my sewing machine and put me into shipping. And they were very much aware of the part, like we only had one vehicle, and so they actually offered me the company van so that I could come into work during the day. So even though we have to return the rental truck on Tuesday, we still have a vehicle for when we get the, well, I'll let Dawn share that happy ending about that. So there's that. So our transportation was already covered before any of this happened. And the really cool part is I'm going to be doing them a favor, but they're doing me a favor without knowing that they needed me to do me a favor. Like, it's just, I just thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
The other thing, like with this accident, now the whole thing with the truck and the insurance and the write-off, that's a nightmare. We're not going to go there, but we're going to talk about the rest of the experience. So things were lined up where the rental, like where we got the rental truck, is literally around the corner from my workplace. So I don't have to worry about transportation. I can drop the truck off, walk to work, and then drive the company van home. The other positive is that our truck, like I'm gonna have to go clean it out, which is really hard. But it's just around the corner from my workplace. And then my physiotherapy sessions are within walking distance of my workplace. So as horrible as this whole situation has been, everything has lined up to balance it and at least put my mind at ease, put our minds at ease while we're figuring things out.
Yeah. So where the truck landed was written off, and like you were saying, we owed $9,000. So we had zero vehicle and a $9,000 debt after the insurance settlement. So there was a day where we were just absolutely dropped into low vibe, like, oh my God, we're screwed. And we didn't let ourselves go there for long, because we're like, no, we'll get an older truck, we'll get something else, we'll figure this out, right? I'm back to making a decent wage. No, we're fighting through this. No, because we almost bought the sad cookie, and we're like, no. So we end up spitballing all day, just kind of bringing each other's vibe up. And I finally went, okay, I'm going to try this too. And I ended up getting a hold of an auto salesperson who we basically sat at home yesterday in our pajamas and refinanced and rebought a brand new truck. And they buried the $9,000 of debt in the new deal.
Wow, that's amazing. Holy shit. That's huge, right? That's huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
congratulations. That's awesome.
We ended up just staying positive. We ended up with a truck with like 80,000 less miles on it, almost the same payment, and several years newer with better features. So it really is about perspective. We could have went down that sad shithole, but we didn't. We pulled each other back out. And sometimes that's what you need, is just somebody else to like, no, it's not that bad. No, I'm not going to believe that. That's breaking your programming, right? Because we were supposed to feel like shit. We lost everything.
I also want to give a shout out to our support system too, because we didn't put it on social media. We didn't really tell anybody. The people that I reached out to were people that I love and trust. I know they love us, and I knew that they could offer healing, and that's where I was going, because I didn't want to put it on social media, because I didn't want to contribute to the loosh harvesting, because I know it's a sad story, and I don't want to pull people into it. I'm happy to share it now because we've got the outcome.
Yeah.
And I hope that this shows people, like, you're not alone. Stay strong, stay positive. But I want to give a shout out to Selena Ingalls, Dan Armstrong, Frank Castle. Who else was?
I was going to say that, like, all those people are amazing people. I'm good friends with all of them. Like, I actually haven't talked to Frank in a while, but I'm going to maybe message him about doing a show in December. But I'm always talking to Selena and Dan, and they're great people. They're always like great support system. They're great. For that. Like they're Like I'll give you an example. We were in Discord the other night at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was actually the people you just named. Like I was talking to Selena and Dan, and then Roxana Faye was in there as well. And we were in the watch party room, and Dan kind of just gave me this like motivational speech about like, he was like, look, man, he's like, you're not going to lose your channel. He's like, it's going to be all right. And he's like, and if you don't, he's like, there will be a silver lining. And he was basically telling me all this stuff I could do. And I was like, wow, I was like, I could like sit down with Dan for like a half hour and pay him to like give me his advice. Cause he has amazing advice, and I just feel really lucky to know these people, cause they're really great people. So I feel the same with you.
Yeah, we had to, and I don't know if you caught Braden. He was a big support too. So, like these people were with us live time because I didn't know who else to reach out to because you guys are my family, and I'm just gonna say it again, Rob. It's because of you that these people are in our lives.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, it's good. We all need each other right now. We're all friends, and like we all need to stick together. And I think, especially, I don't know if it's going to get tougher or if it's going to get better or what's going to happen. But, I know things could get crazy here in the States in the next couple of months with like the inauguration and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm not really looking at that. I'm just taking one day at a time and seeing how I can, better my life. And like you said, Spinja, I'm not going to like contribute to the loose harvesting. Like, obviously I put it out there about my channel because that was like a big thing and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. But like, I'm going to try to like better myself every day, like, and use affirmations and subliminal. I use a lot of affirmations and subliminals, and that seems to help me a little bit, like as far as like, because they have ones for like, it'll get you out of negative thinking, that you can manifest money. You can do all kinds of stuff with affirmations and subliminals. I like that. That's one good thing YouTube's good for, But But I'll let you guys, whatever you guys would like to talk about next,
I just wanted to add on that. I like, in my opinion, you're going in the right direction. Some of the things that I've done to dig myself out, motivation and stuff is sticky notes. Like there was a point. It's funny. I really haven't told my story, but I'll just say, like, there was a point where I was in a women's shelter with my son, and I didn't know where I was going, didn't know what I was doing, and what got me through was a gratitude journal and sticky notes, like all over the place, of things that I was grateful for, and exactly what you were saying, different affirmations and mantras, and that was a game changer for me.
Wow, I like that. Yeah, and so the sticky notes seem to help a little bit. Like, what do you do? Just put like a positive like note on there, or like, what would you say like the best thing to do is like?
It's like, listen to your heart. I mean, it's funny because you're mentioning this. It's something that I do at work too. Like if I'm feeling frustrated, one of the things that I wrote down was the 5 principles of Reiki. And I just, like when I look at that, it just makes me happy. I also leave sticky notes for my friends and coworkers too. And like my one friend, she was down and out, and I'm like, you are loved, you got this. And then my boss even expressed to me, like, she likes the sticky notes that I leave. So but it's whatever speaks to you, like even if you write down the facts, like, okay, if you need to use my words, like, I like do it as a quote, I am making a difference, and then like, quote Spinja, you are making a difference. Use my words, use the words of your guests if that's what you need to start with.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's I'm gonna try that for sure. Yeah. But did you want to share your or what? Anything else you guys want to share? We still have time.
Yeah. I can share the SSP experience that I just had, because it was not as traumatic as many of the other ones I had, and I can kind of condense it into a very brief summary, but it was really bizarre because, like, anybody that's watched your show knows that there's like 5 and backs and 10 and backs. And I've even heard you explain like some of the experiences you have in a dream state of where you're a farmer for several months. Well, something I picked up from Karen Holton was the term or phrase transdimensional experience. And I think those are basically what I'm experiencing in certain programs is like I'm not going for long periods of time, but there's this window that I can see into an experience. And what happened the other night, it was actually the night I had my cardiac incident. I was gone. Well, I experienced for about 3 to 6 months of their time. I was helping set up this high-rise building, which was basically we were making stasis chambers for everybody to get put into, the remaining population of Earth to get put into, basically while Earth went through this massive reset. And it was just going to be like these blast shields over the window. Everybody, it's not like the creepy Matrix pods. It was literally just so we could sustain on Earth while it went through a cataclysmic event, right? And then once it was fine enough to come back out, that's when everything would basically unhatch and blah, 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 and you would come back out. The screwed up part was I literally got to the part where we're like, okay, we've got this online. And I mean, Rob, I was a scientist. I was living that experience as much as I am talking to you right now. I was brilliant. I could tell you how this, and this worked and all about this, about cryogenics and all of these other things. And I was just about to ask in the experience, well, what about this of the battery backup? What if this fails? And then I woke up back here. And that was one of those, are you fucking kidding me moments? Like I lived 6 months in this other version of my reality where things have gone on.
Do you feel like that's what Karen calls that transdimensional? Because I had Karen on my show recently. Do you feel like that's what she calls a transdimensional contact? Do you think that's what it is?
Yeah, I believe that she's absolutely right. That there are, Frank explains it as a frequency. Like there's multiple realities that we exist in throughout the existence of the universe, or however you want to phrase it. But there are variations of our consciousness experiencing other things in different densities and realities. And sometimes you basically turn the frequency dial in your head. So you kind of get an overlay, like 2 stations playing at once. And most of the time that happens while you're asleep. And when you're asleep, this part of your receptor doesn't need to be aware of anything. So you can turn in a little more deeply into that other existence, right? So you're really just perceiving another stage of your consciousness, but you're kind of only half in this body.
I like that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and you know, I talked about this yesterday too. There's a guy that came on my show a while ago, but it's still on my channel or it's on my YouTube. But I mean, his name's Mark Anthony. They call him the psychic lawyer, and he says the same thing. He actually wrote a book. It's called The Afterlife Frequency, where he says like that we're like, you know, like for us to turn into our loved ones or tune into our loved ones on the afterlife, it's just like a radio signal. Like we're on FM and they're on AM. And we have to like meet somewhere, you know what I mean? Like we have to like match that frequency. And once you do, you can, you know, but what you're saying, I like you see what you're saying, that happens also with other realities that we're existing in too. Like Frank said, like parallel realities too. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like, yeah. So it's not just the afterlife, it's like it's like other dimensions and other realms and right.
Yeah. It's every existence of your conscious reality, because if this is getting into some biomolecular stuff, but if you understand like the principle that there's a high probability that the information that makes me Don and makes you Rob and makes her Spinja all comes from a source frequency information, and it's just filtered down, right? So we're all kind of experiencing all of these different realities, but then it substages.
Yeah.
Right. So you can have, you know, this part of your frequency is so close to this other part of the larger frequency that is experiencing it over here that you can kind of peek in and shift and tune into both stations, right? Because we're all coming from a source consciousness, right? So when it breaks down, you can actually kind of like, hey, I can hear over there. That's what they're doing. And when you're asleep or in the astral, it works even better because you're not using any of those senses here, so you can kind of lend them there.
Yeah.
That's my understanding of it anyway. Like I'm not smart. I just woke up and understood some of this stuff one day, and that's the best explanation of it I have.
Oh, you're underestimating yourself, Don. You're very smart. You're like highly advanced, I would say. You know, like you don't give yourself enough credit. You know, like you're really smart.
Thank you.
I mean, you blew me away with some of the stuff you came up with like out of body experiences and you know, and stuff. And then you bilocated all those locations. That was amazing. You remember that show we did where you did that? Like you do some amazing stuff, man. Like, you know, like.
Yeah, we had black helicopters for a while. I actually have footage. Like, I literally had to go out on the back step of our mobile home where our pickup truck is parked and like yell at our helicopter to make it go away, right? Because it just kept like every day. And if I walked out with my cell phone, I'm like, I can see you. And it just like banks really sharply and disappears out of frame. I'm like, thank you. Like, bye. But yeah, that they're terrified more people like us are going to come online and start to understand these things, because that gets into the whole Ardkeem Raw and the GATE program and all of the things that we were filtered through public school about, because that's a whole other subject. But, you know, they know where we are too. They know the ones that were a threat of becoming spiritually activated or having a greater understanding of the reality that surrounds them. And that's what they were testing for in public school. That's who they were looking for. Who's going to pop? Who's going to go? Who needs control?
Yeah.
The part that I'm not understanding, though, like Dawn and I have talked about this, and I'm thinking that this is probably a similar experience through the community, but we have both experienced so much systematic abuse. Like in my case, my ex used the police force, child protection, and family court to perpetuate his abuse and control over me through our son. You know, Don's had similar experiences where he should never have had child protection involved in his life. He's paid child support for kids that weren't his, and I know that this is a common theme through this community. And for like just speaking about our experiences, it's just been one punch after the other after the other after the other. Like there was a point, just like one example for me, my mom was on her deathbed, my family was there, and I was sitting in family court fighting for my son.
Wow.
And that's pretty, you know, like when I hear myself saying that sentence, that is pretty extreme. And I know that I'm not the only person that has experienced this. But where I'm going with it is that I've had to get creative, because I've had like and everybody it comes to a crossroads, I think, where you have to make a choice. You either have to become a fighter or you remain a victim. And if you decide to be a fighter, it still takes time to get out of that victim mentality. And I think that's part of what keeps us going in those cycles and experiencing the bullshit. But as we continue to fight, you know, like we find different things to cope with. And, you know, like we break free, and the more we fight, the easier and smoother it gets, but it takes a long time to get there.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree, you know, but it seems like you guys are making big strides, you know, like from, you know, like, and it seems like you're really starting to manifest your reality, and like, you know, and you're, yeah, that's what I'm getting from this, you know. It seems like you're really starting to like, I don't know, like, jive with like a universal energy that's like looking to support or that's looking to look after your best interest. It seems like, you know, like maybe you're in touch with your spirit guides or something. What do you think?
I think so, and I know she's got something to say on that, but I also think exactly right. Like, I hate to keep going back to Tesla and all that, but frequency is the secret of the universe, and part of that is your emotional frequency, right? Because we are an energetic projector. What you project out into the world, out into reality, is what draws back into you. It really is a huge molecular structure. Right. So if you're projecting positivity, even though the rest of the world wants you to be sad and low vibration, if you're still like we were, like, no, fuck you, we're not going to be sad about this. We'll figure a way out of it because that's what we do. Right. That positive vibration resonated back out through and got the guy on the other end of the internet and got us back into the things that we deserve. Like it really is that easy. It's the resonant frequency that you project out into reality that comes back towards you.
Well, on Wednesday night, you know, like my interdimensional exit buddy was laid out on the bed, and I didn't know what to think of it. And again, it was a choice. And it might be part of PTSD, the fight, flee, freeze part of things. I did freeze. I went numb. But then something told me, no, you know what? All we can do is laugh about this, and all I can do is make him laugh. So he's stretched out on the bed, writhing in pain, and I come around the corner, and the paramedics working on him, and I'm like, you really had to fucking top me, didn't you? I mean, my car accident wasn't enough. It wasn't enough that we totaled the truck. No, you got to go and have your heart episode. And that's how we dealt with it. Like we were chirping each other back and forth, like even like as they were closing the doors on the ambulance. Like we didn't know what else to say or what else to do. So we just
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And even right before I blacked out, I looked at her and went, I haven't reached fuck it yet. And then out.
Wow.
So like, no, I'm not going anywhere, but oh, hold on.
Wow. So this is like a true story of like motivate. People can see this as like motivational and like, it's almost like you know, especially around the holidays, you know, because isn't it weird that like, isn't it, I don't know what it is. Like, you know, like I know the holidays are just like a society, like it's something that society is programmed into our reality, right? Like everybody's like, and we see, especially here in America, there's American Thanksgiving and then, you know, Christmas and stuff like that. So like, we know that's programmed, but it's weird that like weird things happen around the holidays. Like more people seem to get into accidents or I don't know what's up with that. You know, like there's something to that. Like it seems like sometimes like chaos erupts around the holidays, and then also miracles happen around the holidays too. Yeah. So you know, it's I just thought about that now. You know.
Well, I can like for me, and I'm going to say that it's probably across the board. If people took a step back and examined it, there are certain times of the year that, like in my life, that stuff just escalates, and even the same date, August 23rd, has been one of the worst dates ever, because in 2011 that's when one of my best friends took his life, and then in 2020 there was an incident with Dawn, like the same date. And then my father passed away like 2 days prior on August 21st. Or no, it was the 15th. Yeah, but anyway, like there was just like that's one time of year, and now, like I know, like you were saying about the collective, I'm just gonna say, like for me personally, as further potential evidence, this time of year, November 24th, is the date that I lost my mom. And so if we're looking at loosh harvesting, sacrifices, SRA, I don't know. I'm not saying, I'm putting it out there. If somebody has answers or ideas as to what this may be, I'm in the same page as, like, on the same page as you, Rob. I'm coming from a skeptic point of view, because I'm not saying what it is. I'm looking at what it could be. But it's just, for me, I find it super curious that for me personally, I had an NDE on Monday. My husband had an NDE on Wednesday, and then Friday we found out that we lost everything in regards to the truck. And then today is the 11th anniversary of my mom's crossing over. I've got questions.
Yeah, I agree. I have a lot of questions too, because I've had a lot of stuff happen to me too, where it makes me question, like, what's going on. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Don. Sorry.
No, I kind of gapped out there. No, I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I guess we've been. I mean, is there anything else you guys want to share before we finish up for today, or?
Yeah, she's actually on your show next week doing readings.
Yeah, and well, aren't you too? Aren't we going to do another show? I thought there was.
You're on my show next week.
Okay, yeah, at 9 o'clock, right? It's 9 o'clock. Yeah, so I'll be on your show at 9 o'clock, and then she'll be on maybe like right before that. Maybe we'll do like 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern for that. I have other shows, so I got to figure out the times for everything that day. Like I haven't. But no worries. Like, you guys are top priority, so you know what I mean. Like,
well, it's like we'll just go with the flow, Rob, because I've never done readings for anybody really outside of this house. This is the first, but I kind of feel like this whole experience, you know, I think I might actually be connected.
And she's getting good.
That's good.
If I can yell at Dawn in the Astral, I think I'm going to be okay. So
that's cool. Yeah. I'm looking forward. It's going to be fun. I think it'll be really fun. And this has been amazing. This was a great show. I think people are going to get a lot from this. I really do. Do you guys have any final words or anything, or do you guys want to promote anything?
Well, one thing I want to say is, if anybody has any thoughts or input or different perspectives about any of this, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to say that I, you know, that we're TIs or that we're subject to SRA, but maybe we are. I don't know. And basically, I'm looking for, you know, like, what can we do differently to get us out of this loop?
Yeah.
And I also, I think, you know, like, as we get the answers, we're sharing, like, you know, like, they've pushed us to the point now where I'm starting to come online. Like, that was not smart. It's almost, we're almost like Deadpool. Like, they've like cut off our oxygen, and we're mutating now to coming, like, he's online. I'm getting there fast, and it's like, just, it would be easier, just shut this shit down, let us be, and I'll stop asking questions.
Yeah. Well, this was awesome. Well, thank you guys, and and I think I'm live again today, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I have other shows. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them live. And do you guys want to tell them your channels and all that stuff?
Oh, yeah. Mine's on YouTube. It's Don Rogers at March 4th Production. Hi, Whiskey. And also on all audio platforms on the Forbidden Knowledge Network audio. And
I've actually taken a hiatus from my channel because Dawn's got really interesting. So it's actually more fun to watch from the sidelines and spin yarn and chirp in the background than. So yeah, I just kind of took a step back, but I am on Facebook, and if anybody has any thoughts or input, like, contact him or find me on Facebook.
Awesome. And yeah, I have shows, guys, tonight at 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern. Look out for those. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them live yet because I'm trying to cut back on live shows, but yeah, we'll see. And yeah, yeah. Thanks, guys. All right.
Thanks,
Have a good night, everybody. Take care.